Recently, we've been seeing once-in-a-lifetime levels of inflation. This has got many worried, including myself, but worrying isn't a plan. In this video, I'll give you an insanely quick rundown of what inflation is, why inflation is more than just one number, and how I'm planning on dealing with the whole thing. Let's get started. Very simply, inflation is the increase in the price of things, and the simultaneous decrease in the value of your money. Most economists agree that a little bit of inflation is good for the economy as long as it's controlled. A little inflation means your money is worth a little bit less each year, so you have a little push of incentive to buy some things now versus hold on to all of your money. You buying things, along with everyone else, is what fuels economic growth. The benchmark for healthy inflation is usually around 2%. Now, when inflation starts going off the rails, then we end up with problems. An inflation rate higher than 2% means there's even more urgency to spend right now, which increases the demand for things sharply, which raises prices even higher. This snowball effect is bad news. The first thing you need to understand is that inflation is more than just one number. Inflation is measured by tracking the price of a basket of goods. Not an actual basket, it's a metaphor. Here is a breakdown of the type of goods in the basket and how much they weigh towards that total inflation number. As you can see, housing and food prices matter a lot more than clothing and tuition, for example. Now let's take a look at the latest CPI report and see what's worrying. Total inflation year over year for the month of November stands at 7%. We can see that food prices are rising just a little bit lower than that. Energy, especially gasoline, is rising at anywhere from 35 to 60%. Since food and gas prices are notoriously volatile, meaning they fluctuate wildly more than other types of goods, the CPI also quotes inflation with those taken out. Unfortunately, that number still stands at 5%, over double the 2% benchmark. We can see that a lot of this is driven by the price of new and used cars. So, how am I dealing with all this personally? It's a combination of decisions, timing, and honestly, a bit of sheer luck. We'll start with the highest impact stuff and work our way down. Number one, investing. By investing in diversified index funds, I'm making a calculated risk that my annual return will be similar to the historical 8 to 10% of the market. This allows me to stay ever so slightly ahead of that current 7% inflation. Number two, cheap debt. While it's becoming exceedingly difficult for younger people, I was fortunate enough to be able to buy a house earlier this year. The interest rate on my mortgage is around 2%. Speaking very high level, if the cost of shelter is inflating at 5% annually, that means my home will be worth 5% more each year. If I'm only paying 2% interest annually, that means that extra appreciation differential of 3% goes straight towards my net worth. It's important to keep in mind that interest rates won't remain this low forever, but that's a topic for a whole other video. Number three, home ownership and rent control. Expanding on the benefits of buying a home, it also fixes your cost of shelter to your mortgage payment for 5 years if you go the fixed route. Alternatively, if you live somewhere with good renter's rights, rent control can function in a similar manner to cap the upside towards which your shelter costs could rise. Number four, public transportation. By living a lifestyle that doesn't require a car, I'm able to save on buying an inflated asset that will quickly depreciate, and I'm also less exposed to the skyrocketing price of gasoline. Number five, front-loading big purchases. I know I need a new roof for my home soon. The lifespan of my current roof is anywhere from 1 to 3 years remaining. Instead of waiting for another year when prices are surely going to be more expensive, I'm buying it now. If you like this video, please let me know what other topics you'd like me to cover down below. I live to serve. As always, take care.